You ready?
Yeah.
How do you want to start this one? Like, what's up, party people? Episode 2. In the first episode, we showed you mostly, I think, just the chassis was all we talked about. So since then, we've made a decent amount of progress, actually. Obviously, the body panels are all on. We've made a bed, which when we come down, we can show you that. But we've also made, filler panels, splash shields, whatever you want to call them. We like to make these bolt in. That way Frank can kind of dial in his body work too, if he needs to make adjustments to the bedside. So we make these bolt in. Again, GSI chassis, what you've seen. We've got things already mounted up. Like we've got a rack here for 2 Optima batteries. We've got our bolt-in oil cooler mount on this side. And then on this side, we did a saddle tank. We built the tank, built the mounts. This is about 21 gallons. The reason we put the tank over here is we wanted to leave this area open in the back. So normally your gas tank would sit right here. We had to make some modifications to the frame because with the roll pan, the frame actually hung down a little bit. So we tapered this up, but the plan is to put the mufflers right here, kind of set them up pretty cool so that when the bed floor is open, you can see them. And then we're gonna end up cutting this up and over and flushing in a license plate and the exhaust cutouts. That way they're not aimed at the ground. Just a little bit different look, similar to the Squarebody we built back in the day. You can see underneath here, you can see the tricky air shocks. Shock mounts on the GSI frame, they actually make their own lower bolt for the lower link that captures the shock. So I thought it would be a good idea to use the same bolt here to capture the tricky air shocks. So I asked Anthony if we could buy some of these off of him, and he was nice enough to sell me some. So we put these here, which capture the tricky air shocks, and then we made some mounts to the floor. And we do these cool little tow hooks on pretty much everything we build. Makes it easy to haul stuff in the open trailer. Enclosed trailer, we like to tie down the suspension. We put them on mostly every chassis. Just makes life easier in an enclosed trailer. So you saw the tricky air shocks underneath. So here's how they work. Just replicating an air system with our air. So air goes in, bed goes up. On this bed, we tried to keep it fairly simple. We did a simple bead roll at the top. It runs all the way around. The reason we did that is we're gonna bed line the inside. So the idea is to paint over the top, down, and to that bead roll. So rather than having like an unfinished edge of bed liner at the top, we moved it down to here. So hopefully with the step of the bead roll, that will kind of kill that dead edge look that you get sometimes when you just bed liner right up to the top. But what we're thinking about doing is mimicking like a wood bed and putting some powder coated strips in the bed. So like one centered in here somewhere, one kind of on the edge, which will hide the seam somewhat, and then a couple in the middle, and kind of give it like a bedwood look, but it won't be any bedwood. It'll be like the stainless strips that normally go in your bedwood, and then a bed linered floor. So the gas tank or gas filler is normally on the side, which we left, and I can show you why we left it, but that's no longer where we fill the gas. The gas is now filled in the top of the rail with one of these push up, push and raise, whatever, pop up, there you go. Pop-up gas caps. So we'll end up sanding that down flush with the bed, and this will actually get painted to match, so it'll kind of disappear in the bed. But this goes down, feeds into our saddle tank. pop your camera tote and rear end over here and I'll show you what's in the gas door. In the stock gas door, we actually located some jumper ports. You can put a charger on here, you can jump start it from there. Okay, we're back from our Dutch Brothers break. Shout out Provost. So we kind of got started under the hood with some sheet metal. Customer wanted basically to cover everything up in here. We did just minimal on the firewall just to get rid of the seams, and we'll weld up some of the stuff behind the engine later, but we needed to weld that up so we could get working on this. So this is gonna bend down over here, and you can see that side's already cut. There's gonna be a piece that'll cap this, go over the radiator, come in here at an angle, follow down there, go a bunch of places and hide everything up front. We're gonna try to come up with a way to make this whole front piece easily detachable, because we wanna hide like even like the radiator filler and the power steering coolant, or the power steering overflow, the coolant reservoir, supercharger reservoir. Like we wanna hide all that stuff underneath here, but we also wanna make it easily worked on. So we're gonna come up with a way to make this look like it doesn't come off easily, but comes off easily. So, but that's the next thing, is we'll get this going, we'll get the brake master cylinder on, we got the steering column in already, steering hooked up, which that piece of sheet metal on that side completely hides the steering, so that's kind of cool. So stay tuned for episode 3, right? This is episode 2, next would be 3, it only makes sense. Later. Look, he's back, turn around, look. We have a whole fucking film of just Scotty walking over here.